Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's yeah, sounds nice. Mm, mhm. Paste the reference, and now we are here. Allow me to. We already. This is today is on Monday. Last week we actually last week did we come live? Really? No. I can see so many people on board. Peter, good morning. Sacred description. Good morning. How are you doing? It's a very beautiful Monday. Beautiful Monday. God is doing its thing here, and this is amazing. Where are we ending into? That is what we want to talk about today. The market is really doing good here. I can see gold. I can see a lot of alert at that 364. And did we have an alert at that 364? That is what I want to check here because I can see gold having a lot of alerts around that 364. That is what I'm seeing here. I want to see what we actually discussed here and on one, so that at least we can see whether we can have some opportunities around here today. I'm going to keep it simple and straight to the point. At least we see whether we can have some signals here. Last week was not that good. The market was moving in a crazy way, so we are not lucky enough to have some good entries. So that's why I just decided let's just pause a little bit until we see how the market is really indeed going to be reacting. And today is another week, so let's see whether we can have some opportunities presenting themselves today. Yeah, let me excellent. Now what is really happening here, because I'm really interested to see what is happening here. I want us to go like from zero and try to get this market to see what we are going to be getting from this market. Is very important because you can see now the prices are really indeed moving another dimensions here now what is really happening here, if you look at these prices of the gold on what is really happening, I want to go to the 1 hour time frame so that we can see if the prices are really moving on how we were really anticipating. Remember, we were really waiting for these prices to hit 34. That is what you are waiting to last week, but you actually saw how the gold was doing last week. You analyzed the market this week and it was moving in a crazy way. So we not get perfect entries last week. That is why I just did not manage actually to come live at a time, but I want us to see whether what do we see this week, at least from this market. And remember, also on this week we'll be talking more even about the currency pairs. I'll be going also to the currency pairs. We might be getting some good opportunities there. Now, concerning now the price of gold is really the momentum down, because you can see now we are trying to move up again, and I think gold is still continuing to keep the same trend. Gold is keeping a trend still. The trend is already up, and you can see still the market is doing good. Everything is good at this moment. Let me. Everything sounds good up to this point here. I think, as you can tell from this market, the gold is still on the uptrend. So We are still on the uptrend. Don't worry about the prices that you see dropping all the way, but it seems that there is a pattern. The gold is really trying to move. It's really indeed trying to form this movement that you can see here. So these are things that we are really observing from like on the highest time frame. These are things that we can see on the highest time frame. So that is where we start, like on the highest time frame, what is really happening from this market, because it will tell us a lot, and we're really going to narrow this down. That is what we normally do around this area, so that at least we narrow this down all the way to see whether we can have any entries position that we have. If you're joining this live, ensure that you leave a comment down this live here. Okay, let's just engage on the questions and everything. I'll be answering that. Plus one thing, ensure that you like this live. It's very important. So if you're joining this, ensure that you also like. It's going to help us a lot. Now, what is really happening here, as you can tell from this market, we are really trying to derive on what is really happening to the prices of the gold in this area here now. But what you see from this market is very simple, because you see these gold prices after achieving, remember that we have this target that we've been targeting, and that you, let me switch off this we end this alert that we had created. So I think we end some positions that we are really talking about here. And remember also, we end the US 30, we end also WTI is still active. We are talking about 75 mark, so we end those ones. So we are really going to hand new ones. The target, you remember what we do, we normally going to be handing target and the area of interest. That's going to be so good. Now what is really happening here, let's start with the highest time frame. Remember, we end a trend on how this market was moving from on the highest time frame. The trend, which is very simple, we actually drew something like this. We drew something just like this, and as you can tell from this market, still we are on this phase. Still we are on this phase, and you can see still the market is on this phase, and it is still trying to do 1 2 3 here. You can see this region here, this one, and all these prices here, and you can see really this market is actually trying to move, and probably the kind that is going to form here is probably is going to hit all the way towards this region here, because you can see that this was the last testing point that we end from this market. That is what we can see from this market. It's clear actually. When you just draw just like that, you can see that just the trend. So on the high 1 day time frame, we are really trying to see whether we can see the trend on how this market has been moving, and that is what we see from this market on this week. So what we expect in a very simple way to see whether we can just have entries without discussing a lot of things here, it's very simple. We're really going to determine one thing. We just determine one thing here. That is very important. Now that this market is still moving up, and you can see it has already touched this region here, and one thing that we can tell, one thing that we see from this market, and to say that indeed this market is going to be moving up, is because of this. Just look at this, moving up, and it touched this region here. That's why you see now it is really indeterminate to move, and that is why that I'm telling you that we are still on the trend of the up one. So if you are really selling the gold right now, I think you're in a very big mess. You are doing something very wrong. You are doing something so bad, and I'll tell you why here. Let me show you why you are doing something not good. One of the reasons that you should actually not consider, I know so many people normally I say this, that you see the price is actually maybe gone creating prices like that 363, and probably it came all the way from 33.30, and then you just decide to sell. No, that is what the mistake I was doing long time ago. That mistake is so dangerous. So what we are going to do here is, as you can see, is very simple. The signs that you see from this market is very simple. The market was actually touching this region here, and the market was moving up, and you can see once you draw something like this and touch this region like this one, like that, you see, like this one, the next time it went to it created this, and the next time it touched it created this. So you can see all these touches here. All right, so we have the pattern like look like this. The market went up, touched our trend, touched this one, and touched our trend again, and went all the way up, came all the way through here. So you can see with that proof, it's really very simple to really determine and say that indeed this market is moving in like just like this pattern that you see here. Like, look at that, the market is really moving just like this. And what is this? As you see, all the trend that we are really doing on this market to determine the trend is really showing us that this market is really indeed moving up. We actually go to even to the lowest time frame so that we can determine on the entries that we might be getting from this market. Is going to be very simple. When we actually go to the 1 hour time frame, all the way to entries, because we are going to use 1 hour time frame, 15-hour time frame, and that is where we create even more of the zone that we can be entering from this market, the region, the market. The deal breakers, the simple term that we normally use here, the deal breakers, that is what we are going to be having. So ensure that you watch this so that you can connect the dot, but you can see it's very simple. Even someone who is not hearing my voice right now, even if you are deaf, you can actually tell that this market is indeed moving up, and that is what you are seeing. And you can see this touching point here. I see these trend lines, and I just, because it is on highest time frame, I send line time frame normally, highest time frame normally, when you're actually drawing something like trend lines, is normally very strong and mostly respected by the market. Now, what do we expect from this market now? Because this is still time frame, and what we expect is actually this candle, probably high probability for this candle to close even above this. So this candle might actually not be closing below this, like 40s, this is around 50s. I'll be mentioning prices because I know the monitor that I'm using here is some big here. Be mentioning those prices so that you can know what we are talking about here. Now that is what I'm talking about here, that like these prices might be closing right above there, which is 50s. So if it closes, let me create this. So slowly we'll be there. Slowly we are just building the momentum to see where we're going to be having. So if these prices actually might be closing above 33.50, so in case we closes below above 33.50, still this market is moving up. But what is our next target? Our next target, considering that these touches have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, so this becomes strong as well. So if you are going to be buying the account and you are still, I'm talking to the people who are still on the buying, then we have a zone that you can really consider here. And which zone are we talking about here? We are talking about this zone here. So in case probably you are on buy, you need to consider this, because you can see how the market is doing. Once it touches this, it reverses back. So if you probably on bought at that 140, so you can consider actually having some negotiations around this area here, 87, around 87 here. That is what we have, around 87 here. But because of these many touches here, a high probability for this market to break towards the upper side, so possible, high probability. And where are we going from there? Because now we are going to touch the highest mark, which is this, which is around 34.40, around that 34.40. But remember, that is the strongest that we really have here. So a high probability that this market is going to continue this one. So considering this that we really have here, so if you are going to see the lowest time frame, this is according, but we are going to see more entries with that. You can go to the lowest time frame. So what do we get from the lowest time frame that we have here? So in case you see the prices of the gold dropping a little bit, let's say probably to 33.50, that 357, 58, you can actually buy, because the prices are really going to move, probably breaking this zone towards on the upper side. So you can see, at least we can say that at least when these prices now start at least moving towards the downside, you can consider at least buying from that. We are getting that signal from daily time frame, but remember we cannot really determine the highest time frame on this on our entries. So that's why we are going to already observe this and to see where we can have perfect entries. Now let's move to the lowest time frame, which is a 4-hour time frame, so that we can see what we are going to do. So if you have any question, let me just know in the comment section. If you have any pair that you want us to check, it's very important. All right, let me know that. It's always good to engage on that. All right, now let's move to the 4-hour time frame. What do we see from this? Because you can see the price is already at the 363. So I said already that when probably we'll be achieving around 60s, around 33.55, 6 there, we might be considering to have another buy, because now it is very clear that market won't be touching 80. We might be moving to 80s. Remember the last price was 78. So when I say 80s, it means that the prices are going to move here, and that is very important now things to observe from there. 87, 86. So once they go to hit that and you are in a buy, probably you can trail your stop loss. If you enter your stop loss, you can trail it there, because the price might reverse from that zone. So that is the first thing that really you have to observe there. Now, because now the reason I want us to have one clear and go to see whether we can have proofs for this. Now, one thing that we have noted from this market, it is moving up, still on the longest time frame and touching the trend on this one. On the lowest time frame, when you actually go to the chart on how the prices are creating the patterns, you can still see it is showing the signs of going up. This is after hitting the 34.44, which is a very clear resistance that we are really getting from this market. Now after this, you can see how really the prices started moving, getting all the way to these prices, all the way to this point here, and you can see from that onwards the prices now are still trying to move all the way up, and that's why we have a clear point now. From you just look at the market generally like that, and then we move to the lowest like this to check what is really happening from this point. And you can see now it is really moving just like this, and we send our pattern here is 88, where we are going to be checking from. Now this market is moving, but remember one thing, when you're really considering this, that there is going to be where things are really going to not be good. See this region here, I don't know what I can do, for my screen is having some problem. I don't know whether it is freezing. Can't see the prices clearly, so I want to be mentioning these prices so that you can see haraka ina baraka. Nataka kuanzia hizi prices so that tuzione vizuri. Okay. Okay, I don't know why is this blurring. I'm very confused. This was application. Let me go to software. Let me go to website. At least this is better. Yeah, you see. Let me go to this site. Oh, and I think it is this problem. Why don't we? Let me switch the monitors. Let me switch. Allow me 1 minute to switch so that I can see the prices. So I'm going to do like this. I'm bring this here. Okay, so that you can see the screen. And then that's that much clear, right? That sounds good. That sounds good, right? I think this is better. This is better. This is better than the previous one. Now I'll see the prices. Now I've switched the monitors now. Now look at this. This is what we're really talking about. We're saying now you can see the prices is already at these levels that you see here, which is 65 here. Now we're saying that these prices might be coming to 58, but we are going to see this on the lowest time frame, whether the prices are going to revisit this zone of around 33, 60, 58, 56, 55, so that we can at least have some buys. I'm going to get that one, because once we get to 50s, I think that will be a good signal for buy, because the market is really going to move to the price year mark, which is 88, and probably breaking this and moving up. So we have high probability for this market to touch this and move all the way up. So that is highly likely from that. So I want to switch to lowest time frame so that we can see this clearly. And lowest time frame, so 4 hour time frame, 4 times 60 is equal to 40. Okay, now this is what we get here. Now look at this. The lowest time from like 4 hour time frame is, getting the market clearly, and we are getting at least the prices now trying to show us there is a small reversal here. But you can see this was very perfect that we drew here on the 1 daily time frame. Just look at this, how the market is still moving. And let me remove that, but you can see that was really very perfect how this market was moving indeed here, and that is what we are getting from. Just look at this, that so perfect. I don't know what we call this. I don't like patterns. I don't like saying the name of the patterns. There are so many people, there are so many patterns. I don't think whether they work. If they work on your side, that's good, because I know there's some people considering end shoulders, flags, what. I've never actually trained in those patterns, but if you see one and it works for you, that's good. What do we really expect? You see this price here, where this price we have something that was happening here, and that's why now a possibility for 56. You heard me mention it around 56. So what we get from this market is a price that might be at least be retracing from this point. The reason I'm saying that is, you see, like for example, this price here, after having the spike that we got, this price is moving up. You see this region here, the market actually came and tested this, but all this became a shadow. That's, you see this test and this. So all this region that you see main drawing here, high probability the market is really going to test those zones. So, and you can see it's becoming very simple here. So it's high likely the prices that we see here, the prices that we have drawn here, high probability that the gold is going to test this around 56, around 55 here. And once we get this, is a really clear sign that the market is going to move up. But I want you to have a long buy, where the prices, when they come to this price here, if you bought around 50%, so if your buying was around so if you bought probably 100%, you make sure that you close at least 50% when these positions comes around this area here. Okay, if you're actually going to be buying from this area here, make sure that when the prices comes to this zone here, you close. I'm not saying that you buy 100% of your account. These are percentage that you normally trade per day. So if you trade 1 lot per day, make sure that you close at least 0.5 lot when the prices actually come here. That is what I mean by 100% of the day. So make sure that you close when these prices come to this point here, and then you leave the rest. So that when these prices be coming again to the 70 here, we'll be focusing on these prices. Why am I saying 50%? Highly likelihood that these prices are going to touch here, which is 87 again. And once we touch 87 again, it's probability of the breakout. So everything I'm talking about here is the price. Once the gold you see trying to move all the way up, probably you're going to see the prices now breaking and breaking and breaking. So highly likely we are going to be breaking this zone once the upper side as the market keeps moving up. That is what I'm really going to be targeting on today. Now why this region matters, let's move to 1 hour time frame. 1 hour time frame, which is 60 seconds, 60 minute 60 minute. Don't worry, we always, so if you see someone having a very dirty book imeandikwa vitu mingi, ujue mtu anasomanga and discuss, si ndio? Ama Bible you have enlightened so differently, you have enlightened so many verses. It means that huyo mtu ni kama anasomanga Bible, si ndio? So same thing here that we are trying to do. Now look at this, how the price is really doing here. Why are we talking about this? Where can I do 1 minute? Now you see where we are moving, like we are just narrowing things down for you to have like perfect entry that we're going to be getting from this market. Now you can see it's going to make sense at the end of this analysis. It's going to make the sense, and you always know that once I analyze this, I'm going to enter this trend. I'm going to enter this trend, of course. So why did I do that? Why did I do that? Because something I've done here, not good at all. Expanding the screen. I normally prefer the C trader, but I normally find it when I start analyzing this C trader, so many people normally use 20. So if I use trend, if I use that, probably will not be in the same page, and you'll not even be watching this. So this is 1 hour time frame. 1 hour time frame just look like this. Very simple. Just look at that trend, market moving up just like this. So of course, very simple as this market. It's just simple like that. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand this thing. Is how this market is did moving after achieving this target here. So once we get these prices we have drawn right here around 56, 55, we can have some entries that we're going to be getting from this market, at least so that we can buy a little bit for some of the point around this area. And our target is going to be here. Remember what I said, number one, if you buy from the 56, and it's very clear that this market is moving. Why am I saying that? Because you see the first candle that has really formed here is this one, and this one is already moved below that. So probably the market that you see is at 60. We are seeing 66 here. So this 66 that you see here, the 66 that you see here is highly likely that this candle is actually you see the 66 there. Where the 66 is, just look at that, because this market is going to drop from there. It's going to drop highly likely from that point. Just observe and see how the market is really going to break that from that move. Highly likely that we are going to move that. But when we have the daily breaker from this is when this market is going to keep moving up, probably printing and moving, probably there is also another point of 70, around 70. So if we can get to 87, which is very close, so we cannot chase this market. So if the market is going to move to 87, which is around $20 move, we are not really going to move, because you're not going can do this in few minutes. Like to achieve 20 is very easy. But when this price actually drops to 55, $20, then our target will be around $30. Then that will be very okay. That will be very good. That will be very fine. So if you're going to have that entry of $30 when this market comes to that point, it's going to be very nice. But just wait, because I think this market is going to drop. Like the candle that you see here is going to end up being highly likely trend. Okay, sellers are going to take this market probably to this point. That is what I'm talking about, highly likely here, and that is when we have at least something to say that we can buy from when the prices reaches to that point, right? That is not what I think, that is what I see. So I normally avoid my opinions. I normally avoid my opinion and just to you just move with the market. So if the waters is moving if the water is actually moving up, and you see this is a mountain but the water is moving up, don't argue. Probably the gravity that is there is, in Kenya there are part where the gravity is actually opposite of that. Kuna mahali unaenda tu unakuta ukimwaga maji inaenda kupanda juu, but in real sense hizi unangojeanga maji ukiweka ianze kuenda place kuna mteremko. So in that case you just move on now the market is moving. You just move when now the market is moving. You avoid a lot of strengths. Move with the market. So if it's moving like this, let's move that side. Yep. UTC +3, that is Nairobi time. So if you have not set the time zone here, you make sure that you hand at least UTC here +3, so it will take you to the country time. You can check your time wherever you're watching this from. Paul, good morning. Tumepolelea wapi? Tumerudi. Mwangi, a friend of mine, good morning. How are you doing? I'm doing good here. Alfred Rotich, good morning. Good morning too. Mko vipi? I'm doing good. We are finally back and trying to get something here. My account is so much ready to have some entries around when these prices drop to that point. We normally wait for the prices, and one thing that we have actually learned from this is that patience is the key. For those who have been trending with me for so long, they know waiting is the key here. You normally have to wait. You wait and prices normally comes to that area. No matter how the prices try to show you, like, you are the king, we are showing you this, you just wait and see how the things are really going to unfold. So this region here is so important. I want to try and add something around this. You see, I want to have something good. I want to go to, don't worry. We'll be checking also the news that we'll be having this week. But vitu siku hizi zimebadilika sana, you know that, but I love what the market is doing. So if you don't know this, is that how the market has been doing lately is the reaction. Nitawaambia hiyo. I'll tell you that how the market is doing. If the market inafanya siku hizi when it comes to the news, when it comes to the economic news, I'll tell you how the market is reacting. You have to be very observant. Now look at this. So look at what we're getting here. Yeah, you see the region that I've lightened here are 56, very violent, high volumes here, and probably to push this market. There's another volume around 67. That's why you can see the prices reach to that point, and there's some changes that we really get here, and we have somehow around this area. That's why I'm talking about 56. So once these prices actually come to 56 here, once we get to 56, we'll give it a bonus of 50, between 50 and 55, 56. Yeah, we can have some entries. But remember one thing that we normally do, for the people who are new to this, I want you to adapt to our language. We say that the prices come to regions. So we normally enter in regions. Like we give it a region, like, let's say from 50 to 55, that is a buying price. So that when we get 54, now you can divide. Probably we can have your first entry at 56. You just wait for another one, 54, and you can have your last entry probably at 53, 52. Yeah, that is the point that we have, and this normally helps us to maximize the amount of money that we're going to make, and now to avoid like lose. Just look how this candle is just doing here, and what I think, this candle actually is going to end up like this, almost like this, and probably is going to close around 62. And once it closes around 62, we might be ending to this price here. And what we get from this market is the price that actually going to jump from this, and once we get that one, the price might be moving just like that. But in case anything gonna happen to this market, probably creating higher highs, and or maybe this kind of moving all the way up, and in those scenarios you don't really put things are really not going to work like 100%. But the most thing that is going to work here is you wait and let you trap the market. Let market always come to you and not you chasing the market. So there's the opposite of what we are talking about here. Mumbi pairs. Hi, and then what kind of time frame are you using? So we started by daily time frame. We started by the daily time frame. Then after getting from daily time frame, then we switched to from daily time frame we went to 4-hour time frame. But on the daily time frame, we're confirming if the market is on the trend. We are confirming on the daily time frame. We went to the 4-hour time frame, and now we are on the entries on the 1-hour time frame. That is what you see now. We are talking about the 1-hour time frame here. So you can see that candle, how it's doing here is crazy, how it is really doing here, and that is what I'm waiting to see. I sent already, so I sent that this price 66 here, so we are talking about 66. So I'm going to be mentioning those prices. So from 66 we might be getting this candle closing below that 62. Is this the same thing that you see here? Because just wait and see. I'm not saying 100%, but just wait and see, because these prices are going to 56, 65 there, and once we are there, my account is ready for the entry. We will be ready for entry, and that is what. So I'm going to switch this to rent so that at least we can, because it's under but whether it moves up, I don't really care. All I know is that if it fails to come to that point, then we are going to have another one. We are going to have another one. We are going to have another one. How long can gold take to come to this 56 here? Seconds? Minutes? Very easy, yeah? Gold can actually take even like 2 minutes to, not even 1 minute, 1 second to just reach 56. So you don't have to be worried because it's gone. But if it was actually like USD, whatever other currencies that minor pairs, we could have actually been worried because the time. But gone here, we just give it like once you see the London session is on, just know things are going to kuchemuka, and it's high likely the price is actually come down to this point. So you just don't have to doubt. You just have to just wait. Munene is asking what is my time frame. I've already seen this is 1 hour time frame that I'm using here for the entry. That's why you see I've drawn that one. But on analysis, we started by daily time frame. We normally use the daily time frame to analyze things like trend of the market and see how the market might be closing throughout the week. That is the first thing that you use. And the next thing that we use is that we determine on the 4-hour time frame. On the time frame, we normally check the structure, how the market is forming the structure, like high highs. Very simple strategy, here we check on that. That is what we normally check on how the market, and also on the candles, how they might be closing. So we go to the 1-hour time frame for the entries and how the candles are really performing here. That is the most important things here. That is what we check. As we're waiting for this market to come to our region here, we'll be checking on the pairs, some pairs here. That is what's gone. So we'll be observing on the gone. And number two, make sure that I see people who are joining this and you are not really liking. So make sure that you like this live here. And if you have not subscribed, I'll tell you the reason you should subscribe is once you subscribe to this channel, you know, some of time I see perfect signals here, or probably we discussed a region like this, and once the prices touches this area, I have to come immediately to live. So, and it's good to notify you, and once you click that, you can come us with that so that we can identify perfect entries. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to set an alert. That is what we normally do. So I'm going to set alert here around 56, 57. So you come and create alert. Okay, once it will be crossing that region of every time, because sometimes I may not hear the first one, I'm going to create 56, 56. Oh, let me put 57 so that I might not be late. 57. This expiry is going to 20th August. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Let me just put, but you can put it at the end of the week, or maybe not at the end of the week, but at the end of the day. At the end of the day, so I have an alert there. So if I go to analyze another pair, and in case the prices of gold touches these crosses or maybe moves towards that positions here, I'll hear the alert here. I'll be hearing the sound. Okay, you can set those sounds, very simple. So what we normally do is that you can have different pairs that you're analyzing, and in all those pairs you create alerts. So to avoid like losing the track, so that you can have different alerts. Probably you went analyze to see the prices on USD JPY somehow, and probably you're not checking, or maybe you forgot. Most of the time, you, like for example, I've clicked USD JPY, you came and realized that, hey, I analyzed this price. When it came to this price, I'll be buying and doing all those stuffs. But look, the price came all the way and just reversed on my point. So for you not to miss those ones, the most important thing you can do is to create alert. It's going to help manage things. What is happening as we wait for the gun to go all that waypoint all the way there? What is really happening to USD JPY? I don't know how many love JPY pairs, but JPY pairs is one that I can really encourage you. So if you're starting, just start with JPY pairs. JPY pairs, very nice, very good. JPY pairs, they will not frustrate you at all. It's not like gold. Gold sometimes where you can be trading it and utalala. But JPY pairs, they are at least good. They are good. They very easy to trend. Analysis are straight to the point, and I don't think whether this can really frustrate you. For those who know how to analyze this market, even by seeing how, by just opening this trend on how this market was really moving, just look at that. This is the trend that I was talking about. I think that is the live stream that we didn't hear. The price is touching this point and probably moving up, and that is what we have been getting. But you can see these prices around this area have been getting a lot of resistance around this area here. So the market has been trying to break that one, but onwards on this daily time frame here, just look at that. After very long sell that happened from all the way 158, the price is dropping all the way down to this point here. Now you can see how the prices are really trying to move here, but you can see we have accumulation phase around this corner here, and the prices now, just trust me, once we get this point here, these prices are actually going to move on the upper side. Do you know, even some of the time I normally check the highest time frame all the way to 1 month. Sometimes I even check the 1 month. Why do I check 1 month? Because I really want to know, like next like 1 year or like 6 months, how is this price is going to be on that area. So what I see here, I want to I don't know. Let me show you something. I'm closing this now. One minute. My phone cracked here. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. What is this? You can't see, by the way. Oh, the camera can't focus, but it's okay. So this was the long entry that I had, and I'm going to just close it. Just deposition here. I uploaded, you see it, yeah. So I'm going to save, close. Scalping is good, but Mwangi, scalping is good, but you know the problem with this, most of the scalpers, what they do, they make a lot of money. You make a lot of money like continuously, like you can make 20, 100, and then the next time you lose 600 or 800. You end up losing everything. So even if you are scalping, make sure that you have the limit on how you are going to scalp the market. Is going to really up here. So the prices of gold is around the 66. So I can have a small entry. I want to go back to gold. We'll be coming back to USD JPY, but because you people have not really commented whether we should check fully on the USD JPY, we'll be coming to that later. Okay, I was waiting for you to just tell me, just check USD JPY. That's what is happening. So what I'm going to do here, we have 66. I'm going to have a short entry here, which is crazy because you can see this market is moving up, but it's crazy. Let me see. From this point here, I want to draw something. See, allow me to draw something, but I will not tell you what I'm doing. Let me switch that. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. I want to have some more entry for the gold here, which is risky as well, but no problem. This is to confirm the market. Okay, I've closed some entries there, so and I send already between the lowest time frame and the highest time frame. So always trust the highest time frame. Lowest time frame, like 1 hour time frame, when it comes to entries, don't analyze the market and enter there. So if you're going to go with the highest time frame, then choose lowest time frame. Always make sure that you choose highest time frame. Always make sure that you choose highest time frame. Let me log into my account. Where is these things here? Log. I want to log into my account. Let me check the details. I think I'm sharing. Let me look at the details. I log into this. We are ready. We are ready. We are ready. So, that's correct. Correct. Very good. Okay. Now, are we going from there? We'll be waiting to see how prices are going to be reacting from that. And allow me to do something here, which is simple, so that I want to see something before I make a mistake. Okay. Okay, I see now why they're going to reverse from that point here. But we might be moving to 60s around. Also, this part is possible, highly likely. So this is between 60 and 60, 59 and 57. So when we talk about 66, 56, the lowest part of it, that is the lowest part of that. That is the lowest part of it. All right. So now let's see what they can do, because this is 1 hour time frame. Let me see how long this candle is going to be staying here, because I see this market might be moving up, but from this point here, remember it's already achieved 62. So let's see whether it's going to move all the way down here. And this candle opened around 11, so it's going to be closing in the next 1 minute. So it's closing, it's going to close. There's another candle that's going to open right now. Let's wait and see. But you can see that candle that is going to open, since this one actually created a lower here, you see this low here of 62 here. So the next candle that we are waiting to see is going to be very important. Why am I talking about this? The reason this candle that is going to open like in the next few seconds is actually going to prove whether it's going to create another low. Like you can see this one. If this is going to close, then is actually probably going to be closing probably around 59, and that is why we're going to have the entry when the market actually comes to that zone. You can see we have now another candle opening there. So that is going to determine how we are going to have our entries. That is one that is going to determine how we are going to have these entries from that point on. Very important. I want to see how it's going to close this way. I want to see how it's going to close. But if it's going to close above, now that is what gives us the deal breaker. That is what gives us the deal breaker. A deal breaker now comes here. This market, if this candle is going to close and try to come here and then move here, just know we are going to buy from that candle. But if it closes above this line that you see here, 67, continuing to move up, we might have some changes. It is crazy how you see these things, but you know, at the end of the day, they work. Normally, have to work. So I want to see how the market is really going to do here, because yeah, that candle is going to very important. Is it really going to move below that, or is going to grain all the way to 67? So I think 68. So once we get 68, which is very close, that's going to be a rent zone. 68 a rent zone, because now we might change some things, and that's yeah. For the country, you have to be very smart, otherwise utarudi ushago. You have to be very precise. You have to know what you are doing. You have to be very smart. Si kuingia buy sell buy sell buy sell. No. Just have one perfect entry, then you're out. Yeah, I want to see it this candle coming all the way to this point. I want to see it coming all the way here, and we move up. That is what I'm expecting to see. We move to the point. No, are you planning to take a risk sell? I don't think so. The reason, there are some of the sales that I can take, but I really consider this to be more risky. The reason is you can see the first candle green, although it's closed the week below that. And you can see, if we consider that this market probably created a gap here, fair value gap here, that gap has already been filled. So it might not be, I'm not thinking about that. So this market might have actually was coming to fill this gap of here. So if you really consider that, you see that from 57 all the way up here, if you see that gap that was created from this market from 58 all the way here, if you give it even a clear point all the way to that point, you're going to see that around 50% of retracement is around 62, like this, and you really don't want to go that. So around 50 to 68% is around that 61, 62. So I'll not be taking that, but at least if the market was not touching the fair value gap around that, I will be considering to sell. But on that is tweak us to high risk on that. So that's how you know that there are some risky trends that you can take, and some that are hiyo sasa ni kujiwekea tu moto tu peke yake, so I cannot take that. I'm not going to take that, because now you can see you can reverse from that and go up, although we are waiting for it to come down so that we can buy. But from filling this gap that you see here, 50%, just look at that clearly, because at the time it was filling this, the market started moving up. That is what I see. And that's why I cannot take a risk of selling from this point here, although it is escaping to this point, because that is what I fear to get, that this market might continue moving up. Unless if it was another case, a different scenario, I could have entered the market at that point. But that is different. That is different. That you see, that is different. And from now, you might be seeing this market probably creating. So probably now, because this market, we're waiting for it. Let me tell you one thing. Where do you sit? When do you actually get something good? Because now we're anticipating this market to buy long, like go to 34 or that one. I think to stay on the good side is to buy, but remember also the long time that we're going to looking for buy. It's not we are saying this market is going to sell. The long-term goal here is the market is going to buy. Okay, the market is going up, so there's no point that I'm going to sell this market. All my entries are going to consider buying. So even if I was wrong, and probably you are wrong, and you really want to stay long here and you want to buy early, even buying at 66 is still okay. But remember, the prices might come to this point. So that is what you have to know. So if your focus is buying from this market and buying gold, we are going to buy gold. So if you want to buy, either buy or sell, what do I encourage here is actually buying. It's either you'll be wrong, buy like low size of 0 point either 5 or whatever you buy from here, and the market comes to this area, but you make sure that you have not placed your stop loss around that area here, but you stay long on this market, because at the end of it is going to stay buying. So you don't want to go wrong in that area. So if the market is generally buying, make sure that you're on the buy. Afadhali hata ukue wrong by some few pips, because the market is going to drop, than just buying. So I think I have answered the question. So even if I'm scalping, I better just scalp towards the direction of where the market is moving, because that is what most traders lose. You are scalping to get $100. You are scalp again against the market. The market, and it reaches to a point where the market is not going to obey what we are saying, and what it does is actually going to break your heart. Because you see, what I'm talking about the gold here is one thing that we saw, that this market actually might be coming to 58. And why are we waiting for it to come to 58? So that we can have the prices buying at lower prices. We can buy at low prices. Okay, but high probability for this market now to continue moving up from the 62 is also highly likely, because the prices have already touched 62. It's only that we are saying, because we want to buy at high probability and at least have a sniper entry from this market, is when the prices come to 58. That is when we get more of an advantage. So it's either better. So would you rather sell from this market here and probability fails to come to this point, or can you actually buy from this point, the market comes here and reverses? So it's better to stay on the right path. It's always going to stay on the right path. That is going to really help you. Okay, so we are on 65, but what I'm saying, that the candle that is opening between now, the candle that has opened from 12 noon, is going to determine how these prices are really going to move. So that is what I normally do with these things. Okay, any other question? I think that's a very nice question. So whether buying or selling is something you can consider from that point. Generally, the prices are moving up, gold is buying, and this time, this week, 34 is very close. 34 is very close, because we are out of the one, we are out of danger zone. Remember, danger zone lies between the trend that we drew. That is where the danger zone lies, and because also there is a possibility for the market moving down, and this market is still moving up. We are still on the line. So anytime probably we'll be getting this, probably the price is shifting, because there is what we call the market shift, like change of character. For those smart money people, change of character, how the market is going to shift from uptrend to the downtrend. I've not seen that also on the highest time frame. We are talking about 64 right now. I know the prices are moving down. We are 64, so I'm waiting to see how the prices are going to move. And once I have this entry, we make some good amount of money. I'm going to move out of this live, and then I'll see you again tomorrow. But let's see how things are going to unfold here, because something is cooking. Something is cooking here. Something is cooking, and the last price I'm going to see. So in case probably get from 60, around 60. So if I'm going to see like 60 here, around 60 is going to be good. 60 I can have, because my account is big, so I can have just small entries there as the price starts, or maybe think of dropping to that point. That is what I'm thinking from this market tonight. Wow, that is what we are thinking here. All right. Yeah, this candle that you see here going to determine a lot of things that you're going to see from this market. Have you set the alert? Probably I should switch mine to, because of that story, let me have some little changes here. Let me put it to 62 Hale one. early one, it will give me a room. So to avoid why the market moves and create a shadow a week and then reverses immediately. So at least I'll have some room to check the market, to prepare for my entries or what is going on. So when we be checking on 62, at least and give it that space, at least something will be good at that point. Okay, at least mambo itakuwa mbaya sana. All right. You see that threat that you are seeing here? That is what I'm talking about here. That is what we are talking about. Okay, so let me show you what I mean here. Let me show you what I mean. I can have entries 64. Let me. I'm not getting entries very early, but there is a market becoming this zone here, which is very important to check on. But what I saying is more advantageous to have entries for the buys when this market we are waiting for it to come all the way just like that. But the last candle that you see from this market here is really going to determine whether we are going to move towards this direction or this path. But since we filled this gap already, this market might be crossing 37, 70s, 88. But remember, we're talking about 88. So the only thing that we consider for this market to come here is at least we can have lower prices, at least lower, not lower, at least some lower prices. So buying at lower prices is going to help. Buying lower prices at 58, 59, 60s. But generally, the market is going to move up. Gold prices is going to buy, and the prices is probably going to hit 34. And once we hit 34, you know that 34, 40, the highest to break, or maybe 35 is going to be very inevitable. It's going to be very easy for the market to get that quickly. It's easy for that market to achieve that quickly. So the candle that you see here forming here, the last candle that you see here on the 1 hour time frame, we just lower the volume of the instrument. So the candle that you see forming here is very clear. The candle that you see forming here, which is very important, this candle here is going to be very important as well, because it's going to determine whether this market is going to proceed towards the downside. Because you can see the last three candles the last three, one this shows a downside here, another one here, and this one. So this is actually going to, that's why we saying that this candle might be moving towards this. But also remember, we achieve at least 68% of this feeling of this gap here, of this market where it jumped, spiked all the way from this point here. A high likelihood as well for this market to keep moving up. So what is the best point of doing this is to make sure that you're on buys and you're not going to sell when this market, if we're anticipating for it to come here, because the focus point is higher than the buys. The focus point for the TP is higher than the sell. the stop loss. So 65. So yeah, because the stop loss is so huge, if you enter this and the TP is very small. Imagine entering at 66 and then you're focusing at 58 or 50. But here we normally focus big, so it's going for you to be buy. And remember, we have 58 or 59. You put your stop loss maybe down all the way to 50, stay and buy. So that is what I mean. So always you make sure that you consider the consequences. So there are some position I'll be having that are going to last all the way to 34, that I'm going to go all the way to 34 and 34.40. So that is going to be a long-term buy that is going to be popping into this market. 34.30, 34.20. I'm going to have also those type of entries. Yeah, that is what I'm going to be having for those entries. So it matters now is wait and see. Very slow at the moment. Let's see. Let's maybe probably around 3:30 for 4 p.m. That is when we're going to see the price is moving. Yeah, buys. It's just on Monday, but remember, so it's Monday. So Monday. It's still on Monday. So no hurries. Still on Monday. If you have not subscribed, let me tell you again why you should subscribe as we wait for this price. So the reason you should subscribe is because the area that I'm highlighting, I know always when I give you a signal to enter certain areas, sometimes the prices I may go offline, okay. But when I observe these prices coming to the area that we have highlighted, I might be considering to come back live again. And when I do, you should actually have subscribed and turn on notification bell, because on your phone it's going to notify you that I'm live on YouTube. And when I do, then you can join immediately so that we can see whether we can have entries, or maybe there are some changes. We can have like I said we buy at certain zone, or maybe the TP has been almost to be hit. Sometimes I may come by live and tell you, there's some changes. Let's just do this. Let's close the price at TP at 98% target or 80%. That can normally happen. So that is the purpose of doing that. So if you have not done that, there's no way subscribers is going to help us. So it's just motivator. So just make sure that you click that subscribe button you see there and notification bell on the other side. It's going to help a lot. Is this the threat or what? You are threatening us, but I think we might also get. So long term, you are going to have a small because now the target here is just $5 here. So if you have small account, stop doing. Wait for these prices to come to 59. Wait for these prices to come to 59.60. That is what you can have. That is what I mean. So if you have your account that is very small, wait for the prices to come there. Wait for these prices. But long-term account is going to be buying. So you know what I mean. Wait for the prices. So if your account is small, just wait these prices to come there. So retail traders, I know we normally have problem with money. Let's wait for the prices to start the zone there, and then we can have some good entries for everyone. Yeah, we'll be checking on the currency pairs. I know they help because currency pairs are as well good. Very clear to the point. But before that, I will show you how I normally trade USD JPY pairs so that we don't just check on the technical analysis. A lot of some things I normally check when I'm trading JPY pairs that gives me a high probability of getting it correct. So JPY pairs. Very nice. You must understand JPY mostly. How it you must understand JPY so well. So I'll show you what we do, what we check, and all that. And I think I don't know whether we just do it like analysis or what, but I want us to start introducing now the JPY pairs, and then we move into the Nasdaq, because there are sometimes you can trend the Nasdaq, then the indices, those stock indices. There's a specific time to train them and how to train them. So that is what we're going to be getting from that market. So gold is going to buy long term. So we have already seen that if your account is small, wait for the prices to come to that point. Wait for the prices to come to that point. But there are some people who have big accounts and they end up doing a lot of mistakes. That's why if you are doing that kind of mistakes, then if you are actually trending with your account, whatever account that you have, and you are blowing it within the week, you are blowing it within 2 days, you need therapy. Unahitaji mtu wa kuuliza maswali. You can know how to trend, you can know how to analyze the market, but sometimes you are going to need something more than that. So I'll be looking at this point here. So remember what we said here. We are going to observe that. That is going to be observed. That we are going to observe that first. As we are observing on this, I think someone wants us to see what is going to be happening with the USD. What are you talking about? GJ ni nini? Hiyo ni nini hiyo? Don't understand. But I will just try to look at the market. I was really performing. This week we don't really have a lot of news, but anything can really happen. You see how Trump is very a proud guy, because he said that, just look at me. When I come live, when I go live, I try to make the market move. There's other speculation that is firing oil, and the market just did whatever it did the other time. So this guy is making things worse. Nafanya mambo ikuwe mbaya sana. So we are really trying to. All right, now let me check on the. I thought GBP JPY was to achieve 2,000. What really happened? 2,000. Yes, 2. Let me see what I left this hanging. I don't know, but I was trying to see how the prices were moving here. Let me see whether that is what we are getting from this market. Yeah, simple. This was long time, I think, because not long time, but at least this is what I was trying to draw from GBP JPY. So we are still waiting to see the prices, if they are going to come to this point. I really want to remind you on that. Our focus is on gold. Sure, the rest we're going to check is just for in here. We call it by the way. So tunatumia majina by the way and by the way. But let's see how the prices are really doing here. GBP is gaining a lot of tension, moving against the JPY dropping, JPY gaining as this. That is what has been really happening, this move here. But I was saying that if there are the pairs that you can really track records, the JPY pair. So if you really want to trend this, just go to the JPY pairs. I don't know where to start with this, because we can use the same approach, but sometimes you're going to use it differently, because here we can concentrate also on analysis and all that. At one point I was trading USD JPY, GBP JPY, and the prices actually dropped like this. 2008. Just look at this in just a few days. This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like 2 weeks. Just look at that move. 2 weeks from 208 all the way to 179. So you have to be very careful as well with the GBP JPY. The gold prices were still observing. That is how it is moving. That is what we are really getting from this market. Remember, my target is here. I'm looking to see that 262. Once we achieve that, and I see in that by probability this market is going to break that and come all the way to 61. And once we'll be breaking 61, we'll be targeting 58, 61, 60. But for me, I'll start having my entries from 60 to from 60. So I really wonder, we've been going to GBP, JPY, but let's talk about this. I really wonder why so many people enter a lot of positions at one point. Like, you see the gold is trading at 364, and you see someone opening multiple positions like 0.05, like 100 of them. There's no advantage of that. But if you really want to stay on a good advantage for entering just like that, enter in different point like the way I'm showing you here. Create a zone that at least that at least is a difference at least of 10 pip. At least 10 people is going to help. A different, let's say even not only 10 people, let's say even 5 people. A difference of 5 people can actually help if you open multiple positions. Instead of just opening at just one position, then you open multiple positions at just 1.30, 3363, that is 363, that 363, that is 633. All of them are that 363. You count, they are 0. There are 0.0001, 0.0001 up to 100 of them, which is equivalent to like 0.1 lot. Something like that, almost one lot. So if you are entering one lot instead of entering 100 positions at one point, why don't you wait at least have a difference of entries? Like if you have, not just when the price is dropping, so avoid that, but at least if you have a zone like this one, if you have 59, have a region of entries like 59, between 59 and 57. So when you have something like that, then even if you enter just multiple like 5 times and the price come to 57, 56, if you have entries in those zones, at least that is going to help. But the other way around, that is not going to help at all. Yeah, that is not going to help at all. So I'm still waiting to see whether the gold price is going to drop below 60. And when we'll be having 60, I'll be having my interest there for long term. But remember what we said earlier, that once we get the entries from the best buys point, then we're going to be focusing on different entries. The first one, exit 50% at that 387. That 37 is going to be a fast exit point for so many reasons that we highlighted when you are starting an analysis. The next point is going to be, of course, 34. That whole prices that we didn't get 34 prices might be getting there, and then we can leave the other ones or maybe hand the position when the prices start reversing back, and then we have it just like that. That is the biggest move. It's just like a vision, a big move that we are waiting for it to happen from this market. What is really going to happen? This kind of ascent is going to lead us to the direction. It's going to take us to the promised land. Are you going to take us to the promised land? I'm waiting to see whether we are going to break this. And just look at this. This candle that you see here, this candle that you see here, it's went all the way to 63. I want to see whether it's going to go below this one of the 62. I want to see whether it's going to move below this 62 and break that zone. So once we break this 62, of course, 59 is going to be very close. 59 is going to be very close. So we are most very close. But I said that if you have a small account, then it's going to be tricky for you. The reason I do this is not because the price is going to break things again. The reason I do this is not that the price is going to break. I'm waiting for it to break 63. I said also a possibility for this market to test this region and move up because this because of this big move here that happened with this candle, high likely that might be moving and creating highs there. So, and reversing from this point and moving all the way up, highly likely as well. But let's see, this candle, I'm waiting to see it moving down, and at least we have the place that we have enlightened to be best buy point. So are we really going to move to this point, or you are going to waste my time? Let's see. I really so always wait for the market to come to a point, not the other way around. Not you chasing the market. Always waiting for it. Just come. Just come. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? We are now 60. We are on the 63. So on the 63 here, I'm going to have my very early entry here. I'm going to have my very early entry. Just one. That's because of that point of 63 here. So I'm going to have very early, but so bad. It's so bad, man. So bad. So bad. Small account, just avoid what I'm doing here. But your point is there. Your point is just down that to the best point of entry. Your point is there. So my early one is around that corner here. Just placed my first entry at 63.635, but I'm waiting to see the prices all the way to that point. So even if they just drop all the way here, then I continue buying. So that is what I'm going to be doing. But that is what the earliest one, so that at least when the prices start moving up, at least nitaweza kulipia ikikombe, ndio. Yeah, but when prices start moving down, there's no problem because my account is not small, and my lot size that I've used here is still small, 0.1, so it's not going to kuumiza mimi sana. But the best entries, what I've seen is there, is actually located at this region that I've drawn here. Around this area, 50s, I didn't see around 50s, 9, 58, between 55 there, and yeah, below that, above that. That is when you can actually have that. Let's see how this candle is going to behave, because I think it's going to break that one. I saying it's going to break that. It's going to break that level there, which is very important as well. This point is very critical here, very critical. If it's break that one and probably moves to 61, then of course you're going to see prices below that. But that is important that you see here. It's very important there, because it can actually touch that one and go back. That's why I've drawn that. Why it's very important, very critical as well. And yeah, you see now, do you see that? Let's see. Are you just look at what is happening? Look at that, what is happening here. Just look at that, touching, and it's like hot, something very hot, like unaweka kidole hivi unashtuka unarudi. Something is because there's something there. It's because there's something going to something. But it's actually going to come to a point. Don't worry. If it does not, don't worry. That is what we hope here. Yes. If you're joining this, ensure that you like, please. So I don't know why you should be watching this and not liking. So you're seeing this. That's good one. 63.4. So this can, what is going to do is going to probably break that one and move all the way down. But one thing that you can note from there is that already, the time is really moving so fast. Already 40 minutes of serving just one candle and talking about con. 1 hour almost gone. Another one, but was already creating lower prices than the previous one, giving us still more evidence that we might be getting to the prices there. But at least you can see, I want to see it creating more lower than that, 62, around 61. Yeah, and there's a reason I placed my first buy there. I already given that reason, my first one around 63.5. There's some reasons I've placed that one. I'll show you later on how it is really performing. In case we go into losses, I'll show you. For now, it's just $2 profit, and probably it's going to move even negative 50. Yeah, but I was expecting at least to see if this candle goes above, probably the next one that is going to create is not going to move below that, because you can see it has reversed inside that position here. So, but the most important thing, I was waiting for us to break that zone here, the zone that I created here. See this? I was waiting for it to break 63 and 62 to 161. So if you could have breaked the 61 mark, that is what I was expecting to get from the. But in case this market now closes anytime below below, above or above this zone here, then this price might be having difficulties of coming to this area here. We might be having some troubles. Yeah, but the prices are slow, but every time we might be getting to that point. Once we get the good there, don't forget to have some entries. Huh? Don't forget to have some entries. So do you get that fact? Is that this zone here serves as a potential reversal once the market hit this. And now, because the market already touched this and formed this candle here, is a proof that already it's a potential one. A potential, not that main, is just minor one, reversal minor one. And then we have this kind of testing this. So for it now, for this not to be valid now, to disprove this, or maybe to go again, is that we have to get it moving below this, so that we can validate this one more likely than this. But if this prices closes above this in the next, is it 20 minute, 15 minute, then highly likely that we might be getting these prices moving to the other direction, which is going to be dangerous, or which maybe you can miss the position. And I have to tell you that the best buy point for you is actually the place that I've placed the best buy for you. That is the best place for you to buy. The rest that we have there, in case you missed, don't worry. FOMO is always there. The fear of missing out, don't let that be your trap. Sometimes you may see that candle boom all the way up, and you continue buying, fearing to move, and then the price comes all the way to your point where you are to buy. So FOMO is banned. So if you want us to be checking some pairs that you trend, I'm really interested to explore more and help you on that. It's only I'm not only giving you what I trend, we can as well check on what you trend. And I know there are some people who normally trend stock. I've never been interested in trading the stock. I would never. Stock index is a stock, that thing now. How much is that? Because I bought a 63.5. $5 I used $0.1 lot on this code, but I know if that can take me to 34, at least we could, to be good. But when it will be coming to this point here, maximum I can actually use is 0.4. That is what I can use. So it means that I haven't under just a quarter of my entries. Is it a quarter of all than just one? That is to serve me well. But in case we get to that point, I might add more when we come to this area here. But already that is what we analyze the candles, that in case these candles stays up there, we might be having some dangers, because already they are testing this point, of which now this zone is valid again, and that becomes a danger zone when we actually towards the upper side. But in case we break this one, then it will automatically validate the lower prices around that area, making it to be a good entries that we are really waiting for. So I hope you are waiting for these prices to break towards the 62 and break out through this zone here before in the next like 12 minutes here, because the next candle can actually push these prices up. So probably the candle that if these prices don't break that one, you might be getting that price is actually moving up and creating highs. So it's going to be something. It's going to create. I don't know whether this makes sense to you, but it does make sense at the end of the day. It always makes sense. So the reason I normally say these things is because they help me. They help you know what to avoid, what to do, and that is what you have to identify. Like the deal breakers, you must have the deal breakers. A deal breaker. A deal breaker is when you get to this point, no. When you get this point, yes. And that's what we normally try to identify from this market. And already we have the deal breaker. So once this price will, once this market closes, this kind of closes, and once we get probably 67, I think that, then we are going to have a deal breaker here saying the making this point probably invalid now, because I don't know, because you might be feeling high chances of this point failing will be highly likely. But in case we break these two ones, of which already it has actually created a price, if you look at this very carefully, you see the last candle actually closed around 62, it is 62.8. Then the next one are close 62.6. Very close, by the way, but at least the same region that we are fearing here. Almost the same region that I'm talking about here. That's why I drew that zone here. But I likely that probably is going to close towards the downside. So you don't worry. You just wait and see how things are going to unfold. I've already set my alerts is around 62. So once we get to 62, I've known that the price already has broken the is high. We'll be activating now this. And let me tell you one thing. There are some people who are going to place buy limit. Should you place the buy limit here? Should you place the buy limit here because you're saying the market might be buying from this zone? I've already told you these things. I taught you these things before. Now you should not place and buy limit here. No buy limit. Before you buy, no buy limit. No buy limit there. You don't place a buy limit. Even if you just know the prices are going to move here, you don't have to place a buy limit. I'll tell you why. The prices sometimes they can come and drop all the way. Probably it's going to be something breaking and price just come to that point. But the perfect thing to do is to set an alert. You set an alert here, it's free. You can set an alert, whatever device you're using, or maybe you can go to the trading view and set free alert. So what alerts do does is that when the prices actually come to this point here, it will just alert you, and the prices, the prices are already 1862. You now come and prepare and observe now the candles are going to be used. Probably it's going to close in the 80-minute, and you see another candle opening, and what you see is the candle actually start moving up and probably engulfing the previous one. What you do, you wait for that candle to form just like that, and then you get a good sniper entering. So it's highly likely when you set an alert, you increase the chances of getting a sniper entry compared to when you actually do what? Compared to when and that is compared to when you actually put the buy limit. Buy limit and buy stops, sometimes they can actually mess you up. Sometimes they can mess you so big. So what you're going to do, what you are doing here is that we are serving one thing, a high probability market direction, and we are going to focus on that. And then next thing, we wait for a high buying point, like where we are going to get high chances for the market to buy, so it increases us for the sniper as well. And the direction of where the market is moving, it's going to increase for us our chances on how we are going to stay profitable for a long time. How the market, we can actually even have more TP than the stop loss. That means our TP can actually be bigger than the stop loss, like the pips, more pips to the TP compared to the stop loss. That increases it on the time frame, and lower time frame, it normally help us. Although you can see we are combining some different and basic things to get perfect entries when it comes now to trading this gold, and that's what you see here. So this candle is going to close in the next 6 minutes. So if it closes like that, the next candle that is going to open, we might be getting it moving all the way up. And that's why I placed by the way entry at for 0.1. I showed you that already. It's $15.8. It's $15. $15 is enough to buy for me a coffee to stay here. But probably for the market might be coming to this area, so to actually mambo mingi, the prices can actually come here to this point. So that's what I'm saying here. So in the next like 5 minutes, this candle is going to close, and probably now if it's going to close like that, high chances now this market now to the next candle that is going to open, and we might be missing that point. But don't worry, if we miss this point, we are going to search for another rebreaker. We must get, of course, we will be getting that one. So in case we miss that, we will find another one and have entries. But still, never underrate even 1 minute of gold. Within some second, we can come here and the prices, we come to a buying point and the price start moving up. So 1 minute, 1 second matters a lot in the gold. So the time is still young. The time is still young. So in the next like 4 minutes now, this candle is going to close. In case I said what we closes below this, above this, the point that you see here, the next candle probably that is going to open is going to remain blue. Is going to probably move up to 68, 70s, all the way up, and we are going to increase the chances for this market not to come to this zone. It's going to be more dangerous here. But let's see. But in case we close below this, probably 64, around 64 there, we can actually get to this point here. 64 is good. We can be getting to this point. If we close 64, we can actually get to that point. 64 is good for that. Yeah, the prices are not really so fast at the moment, but I know from 3:30, 4 p.m. afternoon hours, so we are going to it's already afternoon. I mean, like in the last like 2 hours, things are really going to be good and more good and more good. So you can see how the price is really doing here. And the next candle, that's why I'm saying, if we keep moving like this, probably the next candle is going to push us towards the upper side. That is the best point for you actually was here. I'm not lying. Small account, that is where we actually, that is valid point I'm seeing here. So I don't know whether we actually been going back to that point or what is going to be happening, but that is what I saw. That's what I see. How much do we have here? Because we bought at 63, it's just like 10, 19. We are $20, so $20 from 63.5, 0.1. So that is what I see. So 2 minutes and the candle is going to close, and the time is going, man. The time is going really fast, really fast. So I want that candle to close so that we can have another breakdown so that we can see whether whatever you're going to see, whether still our point is valid or maybe we can restructure things again and put new break. That is the deal breakers, because the deal breakers are going to help us to know where we are going to place entries and where to expect the market, whether we still the points are going to be valid. Because whatever I'm drawing here, sometimes you're going to see that happening tomorrow. So is it going to really be valid? That is the first thing that you really have to know. Just look at how the market is doing. Okay, that is what we got. It is gold, man. Yeah, but I already saying that the best thing that you can do in gold, I saying that is for you to buy. Buy. The market is buying and we are moving up. But the best target to buy is the zone I have highlighted, which is actually I have to write like this, like 33.57 around here. So it is in the middle of everything here, so that you can see it clearly. $23. Hey, come on. Let's see. The candle is closing in the next few seconds, and trust me, probably I'm going to say the market moving up now, because now you see that range on the gap that was filled here. The reason I drew this is because what I saw here, and look, the another candle is opening there, and now I think that might be moving up. Might be actually be creating prices now up now. Just look on what is might be happening here. Let's give it like 5 minutes, 10 minutes and see, and then I'll tell you what we can do here. Remember, the highest price we can really going to get here is 67. So once this price is 68, I said 68, not 67, 68. Once we get 68, things are going to change. We can restructure these and have new deal breakers of what we can get from this market. Let's keep on it. Oh, I already told you that this place act at threat. This is actually the threat that we had, a very big threat, and you can see finally is the threat that we have here. Now, it's not that the embarrassed that 350 actually is going to be that much equivalent, but now the next price that we are going to be focusing on is here. These prices are actually going to move to this point. One minute, and to see whether we are getting the same thing from yeah, just look at this. This is 2 hour time frame. The 2 hour time frame just shows one candle that actually touched this, and let's see whether we are still there. I want to see whether this I think there's a region that there is 57, that price is below that is still valid, although the prices might be moving up, although we might be moving up and all that, we might be coming back to that point. Still, I think we make it valid. But what I want you to do now, just keep in mind on that, but make sure that you create an alert. My alert is still there. My alert is still on at 57. My alert is still on at 57. Now what we are going to do here, we have another deals here, of which this is very important now. Still, these prices, I think we might still be, this point is really valid, although the price is actually touched all the way above there. But remember, still the buy position is still up. Okay, the long-term goal is still valid. That is the buy point here. It's only that we are trying to buy at the lower prices, but generally this market, this price is actually is going to enter 34. So it's only that we are looking for cheap prices to buy. So only that we are looking for the cheaper prices. It's only that we are looking for the cheaper prices, and I think once we get that point, I think also the best point to buy here 57 is still valid once we come to that. But already I think we might be focusing on something different once this because now things seems that some of things have really changed here, because you can see now how these two candles have started moving towards upper side, and the one is creating high highs, not even high highs, but this candle is actually just look at this, and already this gap already look like that's been filled, and this market is now determined. Don't know whether I'm on. Yeah, biggest point is 87. That is the best to focus here, but still the best point to buy 57 here. I see it is still valid. Don't be confused by where the market is doing whatever it's just doing here, because if you go to like a 4-hour time frame, you are going to see something different. You're going to see something different, because still we end this candle forming here, and still we have this giving us a potential for this market to actually drop to 57. So what I say is that still that point is valid, like when the price is, so I'm going to put an alert there when this price is actually touches that point, and high likely might be coming to that point again that way. Now that is the season. That is the reason I did not sell when the prices were actually up. But when you get the prices moving towards below 62, all the way to 55, is actually going to be a good buy for you to now to buy gold from that, because that is actually going to be more cheaper. So that is going to be more cheap when the prices come to that point. We had already touched 62, and that's why I bought at 63. We had already touched this 62. You see these regions have so bundled. You see just this one. That's why you see the price is touched. But what I'm saying is that once we get to that point of 62, 60, like 60, 57, 55, there is going to serve you as a good entry point of where you're going to have good entries for the gold. Okay, so that is going to serve your gold. The prices are really going to be cheaper there, but within this time I think might be getting good buys for them gold, probably the market moving all the way up. That is what we get from this market. We are 67, so still the prices, because of the high time frame, still that point is valid, and that's good. Yeah, so we only missed with like $2. We just missed like $2 move from this point here, 62. The one that we achieved 62.6, like $2 to achieve from our first entry that we were to place around this area. But it's still a valid. I tell you, this price is actually, we might be getting to that point again. So we are still valid the market to come to that. Just wait. The day is still young. The day is still young. Then day we are still young. The time when the market moves is not the time. The day is still young. Just wait. The day is still young. But remember, the biggest forecast we have is the prices to move up to that form. How many hours are those for the live stream? But I think I have already given you the clear point of where we might be buying. I have only one buy point that I placed, which is that 363. That is what I placed, and what I can see here is 37.5. My entry was that the price is 63.68, and now I see that 8.8. So that is what I see on my account here, around $40 I see from that. So once we am be getting 87, because this is 0.1, I will close 0.05. At least it's going to give you something for the day. Oh yeah. So that is what I'm going to observe today. But remember one thing, that the prices are going to be very important is when you go at least below 60. So below 60 is going to be perfect entry. Make sure that you buy when the market touches that. 2 hours straight live stream. I want to gain momentum so that tomorrow we gain momentum. We trade gold like we observe it every day. We learn together on how to observe the gold, how to trade gold, how to trick it, how to it have to fall in our trap, how to just move with the market. And if you join us live every day for this week, the whole week, you're going to learn a lot of things on how we enter the market, patience, a lot of things are really going to help you a lot. So make sure that you don't miss. Make sure that you don't miss this. So tomorrow, ensure that you invite someone so that we can have some good entries in the same market. But remember, I might be coming back live when these prices hit that 357 below the 60 anytime. So what you're going to do is make sure that you subscribe and turn on notification bell. Make sure that you just do that, because any time, any moment from now, I might be coming back live again so that we can have perfect entry in case the market now touches our region that we have enlightened. It's very critical, very important. So ensure that you like and subscribe on this YouTube channel, and once I'll be there, then we can really talk about these things so that you don't miss out. So is it really going to be heading to below that? Highly likely we are going to move there, but one is to be there, then I'll be coming back live so that you can train these things. But now I have to do something on my PCs here, and in case the prices that don't touch that, then I'll see you again tomorrow. I have some entries already. We are still going to alight. We are going to use the today information to trend tomorrow, the other day, throughout the week, and we are not going to miss. Trust me, today we are going to be getting entries. For those who are on my VIP signals, I know last week I not said a signal because I was serving the gold, but today I'll be sending something. On that. I'll have to do that. I have to send some signals there on the Telegram. I'll be sending tawatumia signals huko, so be very alert on that. All right. Okay, so if you want to join the Telegram channel for the signals, actually around $15. See you again in the next day. Tomorrow 11 a.m. we are meet here. Invite someone, we trade together. Have a good trading week. Salat.